All right, we are on Fundamentals of Massage, Chapter 8 in the theory book, going over infection control and safety practices. So, a lot of this is being covered in our communicable diseases class, but let's just go over it real quickly so that, we all know how to properly disinfect and clean things. All right, the intro. The everyday practice of infection control and safety is the activity of protecting therapists and clients against injury or disease. So, if you don't know already, disease is an abnormal condition of all or part of the body or of its systems or organs that makes the body incapable of carrying on normal functions. So, disease is dysfunction somewhere in the body. Infection control. This is the methods used to eliminate or reduce the transmission of the infectious organisms. Okay. So remember that there's paths of disease and infection. So a pathogen is the disease-causing organism. So this is what we are trying to prevent when working with humans, right? So direct transmission would be the infected host comes in contact directly with a new host. This would be touching, coughing, sneezing within their personal bubble, I guess you could say, where it would be directly transmitted from one host to the other. Indirect transmission would be if the pathogen from a host is deposited on a surface. So the indirect transmission would be doorknobs, clothing, towels. Maybe somebody coughed and wiped it on a towel or just coughed near fabric. And then you're touching it, touching your face. So that would be indirect transmission. It's transmission from a host to a surface. Modes of transmission. Ingestion, either putting something in your mouth, say somebody did not wash their hands, handled your food, next thing you know, you're eating whatever pathogen that they had on their hands. Maybe they coughed and it spread onto whatever you might be eating. Inhalation. Again, you're near somebody within a distance where they can transmit via inhalation or coughing or sneezing. Those particles are coming into your little bubble. You're inhaling them. Now the pathogens are in your body. Direct contact with mucous membranes. So that could be, again, kissing somebody who might be sick or any kind of sexual acts where you are directly mixing fluids with your mucous membranes. Skin contact is a good one. That is more so if you have a contagious disease on the skin, let's say like ringworm or athlete's foot, you can transmit via skin contact. And a big one is invasion through broken skin. So our skin is our barrier, our protector to keep things out. If there is a break in the protector, now those pathogens can come rushing in and infect us. That's why it's really important if you have a cut on your hand or anything that's going to directly touch a client or another being, you're going to want to make sure that is covered. In our case, we're going to either use a finger cut or a glove to cover the broken skin so that we can safely administer the massage to our client. Now, our clients might have broken skin, so in that case, either they should have that area covered up or you will locally avoid that area. Just remember that healthy, intact skin is a major defense against the invasion of pathogens. Right, there's a bunch of types of microorganisms, and we did go over this in communicable diseases. I hope you guys all enjoyed my humor over here with my little fungi picture. So different types of microorganisms would be your bacteria, that'd be your strep, your staph, bacilli, you have your fungi, molds, yeast, athlete's foot, etc. Viruses, that would be the common cold, smallpox, HIV, and so on. Then you have your parasites or your animal parasites, ticks, fleas, mites, lice, scabies, and the list goes on. So this should all be a review for you guys. All right, let's break it down a little bit. Bacteria, we also call these germs. If you want to get fancy, it's called microbes. So we're going to talk about non-pathogenic and the pathogenic bacteria. Non-pathogenic is harmless, right? Usually we have some type of non-pathogenic bacteria in our body to perform useful functions. This would be a big example, would be the flora in your digestive system. Little side note here, our digestive system is linked to our immune system. If you have bad flora or a bad gut, you're going to have typically more health issues. So if you can get the flora and the good bacteria healthy in your digestive system, you tend to have a healthier overall. But our non-pathogenic bacteria can become harmful if it's moved to an area of the body where it does not belong. So be mindful of that. Pathogenic bacteria would be anything, any microbe that is capable of causing disease. If you go to page 324 in your Beck book, look at figure 8.3. There's kind of a little diagram list of some pathogenic disease-causing bacteria. Viruses. The definition of a virus is a parasitic submicroscopic particle that infects and resides in cells of a biological organism. So, a virus can act as an antigen, a foreign substance, or toxin that initiates the immune response. And then your body starts creating antibodies for said virus. That is what vaccines are. Those are putting or having your body create the antibodies for the virus. A vaccine typically would be either the dead virus, so that your body produces antibodies, or a fraction of live virus going straight into your body so that you produce antibodies. The idea is with the vaccine or having these antibodies, if you were to possibly get sick with a virus without having a vaccine, hopefully when it's introduced to you again, you will now have the antibodies to fight it off before getting super sick or before you even realize the virus is in your body. So antibodies are good. The bad thing about viruses is you have to let them run their course. They cannot be eliminated by an antibiotic. So antibiotics kill bacterial infections. Viruses, you gotta just deal with it. Now, sometimes they might give you a steroid to kind of jumpstart the immune system to try to get that virus, try to get you feeling a little bit better quicker to fight the virus. Fungi. So fungi or a fungus like to thrive in warm and moist environments. They are mostly found on the skin and in your mucous membranes. And the bad thing about a fungus is they can resist treatment. So it might take a couple different tries and different medications or ointments to try to kill off the virus so that the fungus, so that you can heal, so your skin can heal. You can also get funguses inside your body, so that's fun. In this picture here, this is a picture of ringworm. You have your little ring around the infectious area, and that's kind of a dead solid indicator of ringworm. Typically, it looks like a bullseye. All right, so let's talk about some animal parasites. So animal parasites grow, feed, and shelter on the hosts. They contribute nothing to survival of the host, so they're just really irritating, typically, or sometimes, deadly. And they must have a host to survive. Typically, an animal parasite does not survive very long without a host. So it's going to need something to live on. So that's gross. Immunity is the body's natural ability to resist infection. So immunity starts with healthy, unbroken skin. Our hairs on our body tend to help us resist contracting some kind of infection. That would be the fine hairs in your nostrils. You have obviously eyelashes to keep things out of your eyes and eyebrows, and the hair all over your body is meant to resist infection or keep you warm. So next we have mucous membranes. Our mucous membranes are meant to also kill off things. And tears. Last is tears. Tears will kind of, flood the eyes to kind of get any debris or anything nasty out of the eyes. An antibody, you should know this already, is a class of proteins that the body produces in response to contact with an antigen. An antigen would be your disease-causing microbe. So, bottom of the screen, in a big blue box, says the best protection against the spread of infection is to keep yourself, your hands, and surroundings clean. That's why it's really important for us to wash our hands and disinfect things in between clients. Infection control terminology. So there is a word called decontamination. This is the removal, it should say of blood or other potentially infectious materials on an item's surface, and also the removal of visible debris or residue, which would be dust, hair, skin cells, bunch of nasty stuff. So we're going to talk about cleaning, sanitizing, and sterilizing. So cleaning is the mechanical, so the actual process of scrubbing. So that would be scrubbing using soap and water to remove any visible dirt, debris, or germs. Think about your countertops when you're cleaning up the kitchen. You're not going to just spray your disinfectant all the way over your crumbs, and maybe you got remnants of chicken or whatever, vegetables all over. You're going to get rid of the debris first and then sanitize, because that's the smart thing to do. Right? So cleaning is getting rid of debris. Sanitizing is a chemical process of reducing the amount of disease-causing microbes on a clean surface. So you clean your surface and then sanitize it so that you kill the bad guys. All right. Sterilizing is the process of completely destroying all microbial life. This would include spores like fungus spores. In the massage world, we do not sterilize. This is more so for doctors and surgery, to make sure everything is killed before possibly introducing infection to their patient. Sterilizing would include autoclaves, which is like a high pressure steam type of machine or equipment to kill everything. High pressure, high temperature. All right. So we want to follow 2 steps in the massage world. Clean and disinfect. So clean would be soap and water. This is the first step to disinfecting your tools and equipment. This kills most of the disease-causing microorganisms, but not all of them. So for instance, say I use a hot stone on somebody, and we'll learn hot stones. So I'm using this piece of equipment on a client, massaging them with it. It is now covered in my lubricant and their dead skin cells and whatever dirt might be on their body when you're massaging them. So first thing you do would be to scrub it with soap and water. And then you can go back through with disinfecting. This is second after cleaning it. You would use a chemical disinfectant to get rid of any other gunk that you might not want on the surface of that. Now I'm just clicking things. Hold on. I want to pull this down or put this up a little. All right. So I'm using a brand new program that I'm not used to. So bear with me. I'm just trying to make sure you guys see this last part on the slide that was kind of being cut off. It says anything that comes in contact with the client's body must be cleaned and disinfected after every single use. So with having said that, I'm not going to use something on a client, not wash it, and then use it on the next person, because that's how you spread infection. And that's really gross. All right. Safety data sheets. So most disinfectants, you should be able to find the safety data sheets available on the website you're purchasing said product from, or you might be able to just look it up. So both state and federal laws require disinfectants to provide certain information on these safety data sheets. This would include instructions for proper use and storage, a list of the active ingredients, any safety precautions when using the product, and the list of microorganisms that the product is effective against. So I'm sure most of you remember back in the early COVID days, Lysol and all these disinfectants started labeling that it kills 99.9% of COVID-19 virus. So that would be an example of some of the organisms that this product is effective against. All right. And then side note, when picking a disinfectant, you want to find a disinfectant that has a wide range of microorganisms that it kills off. And then you also want to make sure you use it properly. If it says that it needs to be sprayed on and dried for up to a minute or 30 seconds, make sure that you let it fully do its job before, using that surface again or product again. All right. Proper hand washing techniques. This is we should know this by now. You wet your hands with warm water, apply the soap, preferably a antibacterial soap. If you don't have that, a regular soap is fine, but we want to try to have antibacterial soap so we can kill as much of these nasty little buggers that we can. You want to rub together for 20 seconds, or you can sing ABC or Happy Birthday, whatever you want to do. Sing the song. Also for us, you're going to wash the entire area that you are using to massage with. So if you are using your forearms or your elbows, you want to wash all the way up to your elbows, down your forearm, your hands, fingers, between your fingers, under your nails. You can get a nail brush. So make sure you wash the entire tool you're using, not just your hands. If you're using a nail brush, you can scrub that, they say, for about 90 seconds to get anything out from under the nails. Also, try not to have long nails in this field. Long nails you can harbor bacteria underneath. You can scratch your client. Also, those who like to have manicures, chipped manicures and nail polish can also harbor bacteria. So I would say not to paint your nails or get manicures. And if you do, make sure you keep up with it and also use a nail brush. Make sure that you're not, you don't have bacteria chilling in the cracks and creases of the nail polish. Anyhow, we're going back. So once you, vigorously rub your hands with the soap, maybe scrub the nails, you want to rinse. Dry with a disposable paper towel, something you can just throw away. You're not going to want to use the same wet towel that you're drying your hands off with continuously like you might at home, because bacteria can, hang out on that towel. Turn off the faucet with the paper towel so you're not, touching that dirty handle, and then dispose of it in the trash. I feel like that's common sense. A lot of times what I do too is I will open the door of the bathroom if I'm using the bathroom, and use the paper towel and then throw it away to open the door. Now, if I'm just washing my hands, the door is already open. I don't bother to close it. Antiseptics. So an antiseptic is a chemical germicide formulated for the use on the skin. We're talking like Purell. They tend to be alcohol-based, or they can be hydrogen peroxide-based. Most of them are alcohol. Never use an antiseptic to disinfect instruments or surfaces. So you're not just pouring Purell on your hot stones. All right, that's gross. It's not really killing everything. All right, standard precautions. Here we go again. I'm just clicking stuff. Standard precautions. A system of infection control that protects persons from exposure to blood and bodily fluids. So all clients are considered ill or contaminated. Just pretend that they are. Therefore, all blood and bodily fluids are considered potential infectious microorganisms, except sweat. So if you have blood spill or exposure incidents, here's a couple steps you can take. Say somebody has a bloody nose. You're going to stop the service, address the broken skin or the blood, put on gloves to clean the affected area. You might need a first aid kit for your client. You want to remove the contaminated tools or linen that may have gotten the blood on it, or bodily fluid. That way you can disinfect later. Typically the rule is if there's linen that gets bodily fluids or blood on it, you're going to put it in a separate bag, and label it like blood or infectious something. Just make sure that needs to be dealt with differently, or your linen company needs to know that they have to deal with it differently as well. So then you're going to clean and disinfect the contaminated surface. Replace with clean linens or clean tools. You can't see this, I think it cut off. Then you can resume the treatment after dealing with the exposure. Okay? Some disinfectants. Most of us use, like, the best disinfectant would be bleach. Right? We're talking household bleach. This is sodium hypochlorite. If you use bleach, make sure it's diluted to the proper use. I believe it's 1 in 10 or something. Right? 1 part's bleach, 9 parts water. Use it in a well-ventilated area. Then we have a bunch of other types of disinfectants. All right? Most of these we are not going to be using. In the massage world, we're not estheticians. We're possibly coming in contact with broken skin. So this would include your phenolic disinfectants and your quats. It's phenolic disinfectants and quats. So this would be like something that is powerful enough to kill tuberculosis. Typically, it's got formaldehyde in it. It can damage your eyes and skin. It can cause cancer. If you were to use this type of disinfectant, do not use it in a foot soak basin or equipment used for soaking. Because you don't want to expose your clients to these really, really potent and dangerous chemicals. This is why we should just use bleach, all right, or another form of disinfectant. Quats would be like your barbicide. So like I said before, your typically barbicide is used for estheticians or hairstylists. But this is awesome because it's effective against all kinds of nasty little bugs. So bacteria, viruses, fungi, mold. So it kills all that stuff. All right. Follow safety practices and procedures. So when you're considering safety, you want to focus on the facility, the equipment, us as massage practitioners, and your client. So you want to maintain clean equipment, fire safety. Make sure you have some way to put out a fire extinguishers throughout your building. It's good to have a first aid kit on hand, and proper heat and ventilation. For us as practitioners, we want to practice proper body mechanics, clean and sanitize hands and equipment, use gloves or finger cots for open wounds, and then have a knowledge of the first aid and fire safety in the building. Know where things are. You want to know your contraindications for massage, because this could be a big liability if you work on somebody with a massage contraindication and it causes harm. Be mindful of ethics and your boundaries. And there's so many more things that would go along with practitioner safety. Clients, we need to understand the passive infection and follow good housekeeping checklists. You can look that up in the book. There's like a big thing about good housekeeping checklists. Provide a safe and clear area for them to walk, entryways, walking down the hall to the treatment room, whatever. Check for sensitivities and allergies. Do not harm your client, not purposefully. And this is what I was talking about. There's page 334 and 335 of your Beck book. Figure 8-9 is a huge checklist that you can look at for funsies. All right, we're good there, and that's all, folks.